All right, everyone, welcome to today's recap. I hope you all are doing well and staying blessed. If you guys are new here, my name is Jeremiah and I'm a small cap day trader. As you guys can tell by the title, today my execution was not at its full potential, and I think that can be attributed to a few things. The first one and foremost, I don't think I slept today. Like, I didn't fall asleep at all. I was just laying down in my bed for 8 hours. And my alarm today also didn't go off. So but before I had set two sort of alarms. I have my regular alarm and then I have a stopwatch. I just set it for 8 hours when I went to bed, which did go off. I don't know why my alarm is not working, but anyways, that's besides the point. I didn't really sleep at all, and I'm sick. If you guys couldn't tell by my voice, and it's been sort of a long weekend. Obviously, we didn't trade on Friday, so it's that and I don't know, just a kind of hectic weekend. And it was Easter, so there's much to be grateful for as well. But anyways, without further ado, let's jump right into this recap. First stock we were looking at was PRFX. I wanted to trade this, but I wasn't able to because it was restricted on Webull, which was really annoying. Because not that long after, Elab popped up, which, if you guys recall, is also not tradable on Webull. So we saw this pop up here. Um, this stock has a flow of, hold on, PRFX, um, 800,000 shares, which is good, really low float. And obviously, I just did that as an example to show that I wasn't able to trade it there. Not that I was going to take a trade there. So my first trade was on PFSA. This stock was a lower price stock. I got in for the micro pullback or dip and rip there. Um, and it was only a 3-cent winner on 5 shares. So it was a small winner, but uh, nonetheless, at least it wasn't a loser. This stock has a float of 790,000 shares. So another really low float, but the price is also lower, and this stock was a bit of a grinder. So you can see why this is not the best stock for me to be trading. So this next trade I take here was sort of a dip off of the 90 EMA, but I got a late entry. I got a high fill as well there. Big. Uh, and it starts to reject immediately, which is obviously not what I wanted to see. And I probably should have taken the trade off of the 90 EMA if I was going to take a 90 EMA trade. But it looked kind of bearish when it was dropping. I don't know. Probably shouldn't have taken it in the first place, but this one ended up being a small loser. I wanted to let it run for a bit. I thought it was going to go higher. I could have taken my profit there and ended up selling it for a loss as it went red there, which is frustrating. I think I sold at the low of that candle, but it doesn't really matter. So shortly after, I take another trade for the break over this pivot. Sort of a revenge trade, honestly, because this is quite a bit. I mean, it's very close to my last trade. Took 3 trades within since this red candle, I think. Yeah. Or actually, no. I took one right here, and then yeah. But within this, I took 3 trades, which is way more than I need to be taking. This ends up being a loser. Yeah, so that puts me down $1.61, and at this point, I was thinking about getting ready to walk away, because max loss is obviously $2. Shouldn't be trading much more than this if I keep losing. So I jumped back in here. First candle make a new high, and the anticipation for the break over this pivot. This one is a better setup, but once again, I'm taking them in such a close range where it's like I can't really say I should have been jumping in there at all. Jump back in for the break back over 2, getting in super high. at 90, which is not a good place because I feel like on these lower price stocks, levels like 90, 80, like just at 10 cent, like every 10 cents is a psychological level of resistance or support. Obviously, as we're moving up, it's resistance. So it wasn't a good trade. Um, it could have worked, but it's just not. There was no real setup. I just got it at the top of that candle. I didn't wait for it to close or anything like that. Uh, so not a good trade, and ended up giving back all my profit and a little bit more from that previous trade. That was a winner. And so now I'm right near my max daily loss, which is not good. And I actually end up taking a trade on this stock here, MLEC, which I should not have done, but it was with one share, so I figured, you know what, whatever. 36 cents. I just made 36 cents on one. So sorry, somebody came in my room, but 36 cents on one share. If I took that with 5 shares, it would have been obviously much bigger, or even 10 shares obviously would have been nice. But that wouldn't have been the right thing to do. So I jumped in with 5 shares there after taking a small winner. That was super risky. I know I should be trading this with one share at max, especially being down, already at $2. So I made back everything there. I sold that one for a little bit of a loss because it was totally a FOMO trade. Um, yeah. So same with this one. I just jumped in, FOMOing in. There was no setup there. There really wasn't. And this is scary because now I'm down, you know, what, $6? Okay, well, it ends up coming back up in my favor. And I think that was no, I took a few more trades after this, but that was completely FOMO, and I was down $6 there when my max loss is $2. So that would have been absolutely terrible. I mismanaged my risk and size on this trade, on this stock. Yes, it ended up working in my favor, where I made back all my loss. But I cannot be jumping in where I'm gonna if the drawdown is gonna be like 3 times my max daily loss, and then if I took that loss and realized it, it would have been 4 times because obviously this loss I already had. So just mismanage my risk and uh, positioned, myself. This is a stock where the range was really big. Obviously, I mean, 36-cent winner on one share. That's obviously would have been $3.60 on a 10 cent or 10 share position size, but also that means the risk is the same. Um, so yeah, not really proud of this at all, but um, I'm grateful to be green. I got really lucky today, and this is not something that I will continue doing. But if I do feel that on a day I am not feeling my best, I will bring down my share size. Which today I knew, like, I was gonna size up today. This would have been 2 shares, and then I would have gone with my other positions. I just would have doubled every single position size. So this obviously would have been 2 shares, and then I would have went to 10 shares and then 20. Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna double my or up my share size today, but as I sat down, knowing how much I slept, I changed it back to regular or small size. Um, so I just took a trade there off a dip off the 9 view app. Um, I really just grasping at straws, to be honest, but I do think I took that with one share, so it wasn't a big deal. So this next trade was really bad. I sort of FOMOed in at the top. It was I was getting in for the holdover or the bounce off of 50, which it could have worked, but I got in late first of all, and I was looking at the time in sales, like it was at 51 when I was looking at it. So, but as we know, it's very delayed on Weeble, so you know it is what it is. Ended up taking a dollar loss on that. Um, Not the end of the world, but obviously it would have been nice to have not traded this. I told myself before once I had reached this level, I told myself I was pushing my luck and I should stop trading. But being on no sleep, I was not able to remember that. So just to give you an idea of how uh, off I was mentally today. I ended up making back most of it there on a dip trade, which it was a good trade. I think that was a really a good setup. A dip off of VWAP is always, you know, pretty viable. Um, but once again, it's another one of those trades where it's like I took it right after a loss, so it's sort of a revenge trade. Um, technically, it worked out in my favor, and I'm grateful for that. But just not very proud of it. So here's another trade I took on MLEC. um, Getting it back really high. I don't know what exactly the setup was here. The pivot, if I was to go for a break over any pivot, should have been down here, but this ends up playing around my entry, and I sell it back there for 50-cent loss. But I only got in with one share, so it was not not the end of the world. Which I'm glad I only got in with one share. I think it's important to position yourself correctly, even if you know you're taking a risky trade. So that wasn't too bad. I'm glad I didn't take 10 shares there. That would have been terrible. Alright, so I took one more trade here on MLEC, I think. This was the last one. And this was the last straw because I was like, I really just gave back, or I almost gave back everything with this trade. And I was like, you know what? I probably should not be doing that. So that was not very good trading. And so that was the last trade I took. I ended up the grand P&L today was $1.22. I ended up locking my trading. Should have probably stopped trading a while back. But at least I didn't really I didn't go into realized or P&L of -$8, which would have been 4 times my max loss. I'm grateful for that. I really shouldn't have traded as much as I did, and I shouldn't have been as aggressive as I was, knowing my decision making might be a little bit off today, considering uh, how I woke up um, on like zero sleep. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. That's all I have for you guys today. Um, yes, my execution was terrible today. I know. Um, if there's anything else you guys noticed. Yes, I know I FOMO'd in many times and revenge traded today. Not a great example of trading. Um, but I've started to think that if your execution is not good, at least make sure your risk is good. Because if you can follow your risk management, walk away when you're supposed to walk away, then I think you'll be all right. Because not every day your execution is going to be at its best. But if you can manage your risk every day, um, then I think you will be able to survive. Today, I didn't really display any great traits of risk management or execution, but I hope you guys learned something from me today on what not to do. Because today I quite frankly got lucky to be. I'm lucky to be green. Um, but with that, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all are staying blessed and staying green. And with that, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.